Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And there's been an interesting development in the Margaret Ferrier case. Down at Westminster, another SNP MP has suggested to her that she walks away, she quits, she ceases to be an MP, she resigns her position, simply to make it easier to go ahead and have this election to replace her. I think this is probably the best thing for her to do. It will show that she's got some decency, but I suspect she'll try and hang on as long as possible to keep hold of that ministerial, not ministerial, but MP salary, because obviously once she goes, she'll have to look for another job. And she hasn't really got the skills to get one. And certainly, as someone who was effectively fired by her constituents, she'll have a hard time. So we'll have a look at this very quickly. It's only brief. It's just to show that a former colleague has sort of told her to go, in the name of God, go. Like Lady Macbeth, wasn't it? Stand not upon the order of your parting, but leave. And that's basically what he said to her now. So we'll have a look at this, see what's going. So Margaret Ferrier, an SNP MP, calls for former colleague to stand down. And there's back in the day when she was still allowed into the House. So an SNP MP has called for Margaret Ferrier to stand down from the House of Commons and spark a by-election in her South Lanarkshire seat. Well, I think it's more or less confirmed that she'll be gone and there will be, a by-election. So she might as well just go now, have a bit of dignity about herself. But of course, she won't. She needs to hang on. She needs to, get the money in, keep the money coming, because otherwise she will have very little of it in years to come. David Linden, Westminster spokesman for social justice, said that a vote would be an opportunity to test the new leader Humza Yousaf's vision with the electorate. Now, I'm reading into this slightly more, and this is why this story intrigued me, because this isn't just someone saying, Margaret, go. It's that line, test the new leader. We've already done a story today about how people in Westminster, and David Linden is one of them, is very concerned about their seats. SNP members, this is. Are very concerned about their seats. And this test that he talks about is one that he hopes Humza Yousaf loses in order to try and extricate him from the position of leader, get someone like maybe Kate Forbes in, that may turn the party's fortunes around, make them slightly more electable, and hopefully, in the eyes of David Linden, keep his arse on the benches of Westminster. So anyway, Miss Ferrier is facing suspension from the House of Commons over breaching the COVID regulations, and she could be sacked from her seat if enough people in the constituency back her recall. Now, I'm not going to go and regurgitate all the situation. You know the thing. During the lockdown, she travelled, shouldn't have done, brought this on herself. But Mr. Linden was asked on the BBC Scotland's Good Morning Scotland programme if he thought she should now step down. He said, I absolutely do. I think I was the first person on the airwaves the night the Margaret Ferrier story broke, and said then that I thought her position was untenable, and my position on that has not changed. And quite right. I think she should have stepped down straight away. You break the rules, you act like in a hypocritical manner. You say, do as I do, not as I say. Do as I say, not as I do. And then you resign, and that's it. You've been caught out, go. But she's had to drag it on as long as possible for money. Rightly, he said, voters in Rutherglen and Hamilton West are annoyed that they have got an MP who is supposed to be voting on COVID legislation that she is found to have broken. And I know that people in Rutherglen and Hamilton West are focused on the cost of living crisis, on the NHS, and on the economy, and they will want a member of Parliament who has credibility and who can stand up in the House of Commons. And the funny thing is, this is an SNP man sitting there going that the people in Rutherglen, and he's admitting it, that they are concentrating on the cost of living crisis, the NHS, and the economy. They're not, and he's just admitted it, they're not giving one iota about independence. And yet his party keep pushing that. So he should take a leaf out of his own book as well. I mean, he's right about Margaret Ferrier, but, he should take a leaf out of his own book and listen to what the people in his constituency, all up and down Scotland, are concerned with. And it isn't independence at the moment. Anyway, and that's what they'll get, he says, when they vote from the SNP when the by-election takes place. We will go to the constituents of Rutherglen and Hamilton West and make the case for a strong SNP MP who will be laser focused on the cost of living crisis and tackling the concerns of working people. Well, that's bullshit, because whoever you vote in, whoever you put up rather, will only be laser focused on independence, because that's the only thing that matters to single-minded, obsessed people like you. If you truly meant what you were saying, you would never mention independence until the time was right, and you'd get the economy right, and you have the NHS working. But none of these things happen because everything is independence. Mr. Linden said that the SNP were prepared to fiercely contest the seat and welcomed the challenge from other parties. Well, that's good, because you're going to get a hell of a challenge, and you're going to have to do a hell of a turnaround if you think you're going to beat Labour in that seat. Or even in your own in about a year's time. He said the by-election hasn't taken place yet. We will fight for absolutely every single vote. There's no doubt that any electoral contest will be fiercely contested by all political parties, including the SNP. But it's an opportunity for us. We've got a new leader in Humza Yousaf, and we've got an opportunity to go out there and talk about his vision. But weren't you the one saying, and I did the piece earlier, aren't you the one saying that Humza Yousaf has got no vision? That was the words you used. He's got no vision, no direction. You don't know where he's taking you. This man, he just opens his mouth. He just wants to make sound bites and listen to the words he says. So we've got him an hour ago saying Humza Yousaf's got no vision, and now he wants people to go out there and talk about his vision. That's the last thing you want him to do. The absolute last thing you want him to do is go out there and talk to people, because he's an idiot. Anyway, the Scottish Government, he says, has its mission set in terms of equality and opportunity. They are the kind of messages we'll be talking to the people on the doorstep. That's if the people are prepared to open the door to the likes of you. Honestly, full of it, absolutely full of it. But you are right. He is right that Margaret Ferrier must go. But all that crap about people are focused on this, that and the other, but they're not focused on independence. And then you're talking about Humza Yousaf's vision. It's a joke. And it's no wonder you're likely to lose your seat at the next election. You'll be sitting there at home, you know, in your pants, eating your quavers, listening to what the MP says. The MP who's got your seat. Anyway, I shall round off and come up. Of course, Ferrier won't give that seat up without a fight. She will claw onto that tooth and nail. But as soon as she loses the vote, she's no longer an MP. She does have the right, of course, to go back to Rutherglen and Hamilton West and fight for that seat. That is a given right, but she doesn't necessarily have a right to win it, and I suspect the people there will certainly reject her. After all, you know, you get a hypocritical MP, you don't give them a second chance, do you? Well, not unless you're really stupid. But of course the people there will probably vote for Labour and or SNP, and probably both, because they're not too bright either. Like anyone who votes for the SNP, you know. But yeah, it's all done for her. She's done, she's out. She'll have to go and find another job. Good luck. But when the election comes, it is going to be very, very highly fought. It is going to be a real vote, because this isn't just a by-election. This will be basically a referendum on Humza Yousaf. This will be where Humza Yousaf gets his first baptism of fire, and if he doesn't win and win big, then I think the questions will be asked. We've already got motioning towards us, already people starting to stir that they may have the wrong person. And I think if he fails to win this by-election, then I think it could be very, very quick and Humza Yousaf has gone. But we shall wait and we shall see. And I thank you for watching my video. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. But definitely leave a like. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, keep watching, and do subscribe if you haven't already, because it is only going to get better. And goodbye.